I want today to talk to you a little bit about some basic techniques for yogic breathing. Breath is so basic to yoga. The breath is connected with the prana, the life force in the body. And the way we breathe has such a huge impact on how we feel. And so some basic techniques can be really helpful just in helping us breathe better more generally, helping us manage stress in the moment. Just like that, we can turn things around with our breathing. So I wanted to show you some three basic techniques of yoga breathing that you might like to try. So first I want to show you my setup. Whenever I'm meditating or I'm sitting and breathing, I have my cushion here, which I absolutely love because it keeps my ankle bones from digging into the floor. Even with some carpet and a yoga mat, it can still be uncomfortable. And I've got another cushion here, but you could use any kind of cushion. And I use that to raise my hips a little bit because when you sit with the hips raised, it's much easier for them to open up and for you to sit in some kind of easy cross-legged posture. So the first thing I like to do before I start any breath work is just to notice my normal breathing. So I'd like us to take a minute, close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or you can just sort of gaze softly at the floor, kind of just let your eyes go out of focus, and just breathe and notice your breathing. I always like to start with noticing how I'm breathing because then I like to notice how it changes after I start doing some of these techniques. So the first one we're going to do is the Dirga breath, or the three-part yogic breathing. Now, if this is brand new to you, you might want to try to place your hands on the body so you can feel what's happening. So we're going to practice breathing through the belly, the rib cage, and up into the collarbones. So for some of us, we might breathe more shallowly, so we're used to just breathing kind of in our chest. For others, we might recognize what it feels like to breathe deep into the belly, but not all the way up. So it might be a challenge in one direction for some of us. So to start, you might want to put your hand on your chest and maybe on your ribs, or right where the solar plexus is, so you can feel the differences in your breathing. So we're going to inhale into the belly, rib cage, keep inhaling, up into the collarbones, keep inhaling, and then exhale, collarbones, ribs, belly. Inhale into the belly, the ribs, the collarbones, and then exhale, collarbones, ribs, and then the belly. And so if it helps you focus, you can go ahead and close your eyes and just keep breathing in that way. Inhale, belly, ribs, collarbone, exhale, collarbone, ribs, belly. So just go ahead and continue at your own pace, feeling the breath enter the belly, and then the ribs, and then the collarbones, and then exhale, collarbones, ribs, belly. And when that rhythm starts to feel comfortable to you, you might try just a little pause at the top of the inhale, just for a moment, and then a little pause at the bottom of the exhale. See how that feels. after your next exhale, just take a moment and close your eyes or gaze softly at the floor and go back to breathing normally. Don't try to do anything special with it, and just notice your breathing. In particular, notice if it feels different at all from when you first started. What I typically notice after just a few rounds of Dirga breath is that my normal breathing is a little deeper, the breath is longer, and it's smoother. It just seems to just flow even more effortlessly in and out of the body. So the next one I want to show you is Ujjayi breath, which is also called ocean sounding breath, although the Sanskrit translation is victory breath. But another colloquial term for it is the Darth Vader breathing. And so this is the easiest way to get the hang of it if you've never done it before, is to think about fogging a mirror. So if you kind of put your hand out and go, and try to fog the mirror, you can feel there's a little constriction in your throat that you're doing to make that sound. So you want to keep that constriction in your throat while you're breathing through your nose, so your mouth is closed, and you're going to keep that constriction when you're breathing out, but also when you're breathing in, so you make an audible sound with your breathing. So try that. Just close your mouth and try the and you can try variations of it. So you can try doing it so that people sitting next to you, if they were next to you, they would be able to hear you. You could try doing it so softly that only you can hear. But you can play around with those variations and doing the Ujjayi or ocean sounding breath. So again, close your eyes, take a little or soft focus gaze on the floor, and just try a little bit. Practice with playing with that, the strength, the volume of that sound that you're making when you're trying the Ujjayi breath. I find this breathing technique helpful in two ways. One is if I'm meditating and I want to give myself an extra anchor into the breath, like keeping my attention on the breath to keep the monkey mind from jumping around from thought to thought. I will use a very subtle Ujjayi breath, just a little bit of sound as I'm breathing, and that gives me another thing to focus on. It's not just the sensation of the breath, it's also the sound of the breath that anchors me into that and helps me stay focused in meditation. The other way I find it really helpful, and this is where I tend to be louder in using it, is if I am holding a posture, a difficult posture, or holding a posture that requires some strength for a longer period of time, I find myself just naturally going into the Ujjayi breath because it seems to marshal my strength and my stamina to help me stay focused and stay holding. So if I'm doing a big warrior pose or something or downward dog that requires a lot of strength, is a little more difficult, I will often just unconsciously go into Ujjayi breath because I just find it very helpful. So the third yogic breathing technique I'd like to show you is called Nadi Shodhana, or the sweet breath. And I really like this too. I find this one very soothing. And so a lot of times I will use it at the end of my meditation practice just to calm the mind, the body before I go into Shavasana or resting pose. And it's also a very simple technique. what you're going to do is you're going to alternate from breathing through different nostrils. And you're going to start with the left and move the breath to the right, and then come in the right and go out the left. And so you're going to use your fingers, your hands, to help you with that. So you're going to take the index finger and the ring finger and kind of curl them toward the palm. And you're going to take I use my right hand. So then I've got my thumb along my right nostril. And then I've got my ring finger, my pinky finger, ready to go along the left nostril. So when you're breathing out of one nostril, you're going to use your thumb or your fingers alternatively to hold the other nostril closed. So we always begin by coming in the left and going out the left. So we'll begin with exhaling completely and then breathing in through the left, slight hold, exhale through the right, inhale through the left, inhale through the right, and then exhale back out through the left. Inhale through the left, exhale through the right, inhale the right, and exhale left. So again, you can close your eyes or find your soft gaze on the floor and try practicing it yourself. With your thumb on your right nostril, inhale through the left, close the nostril, exhale right, inhale right, close the nostril, exhale left, inhale left, close nostril, exhale right. And now continue on your own, inhaling right. And just continue at your own pace. And after your next exhale at the left nostril, you can release that. And what did you notice? I noticed that when I stopped talking and I just engaged in the practice, it slowed my breathing down. And it becomes this nice little wave or flow or rhythm that I'm more conscious of than if I'm just watching my breath as I breathe normally. So I really like it. And any of these breathing techniques you can do any time of the day on their own. You might decide you want to use them to try to go to sleep at night, to calm and rest the mind. When you're feeling stressed, you might choose one to do for just even a minute or two or three. Can really bring a lot of difference and physiological changes in the body. You can try using them first thing when you sit down to practice. Try a breathing technique, one of these techniques to just settle yourself down and get ready for your meditation or yoga practice. I also like to use them when I'm completely finished with my meditation and yoga practice, just before I move into Shavasana or resting pose. Anytime that you feel called to use them, give them a shot and let me know how you like them.